So I'd like to thank once again the committee for giving me the chance to share some of part of my current research and project that I'm currently working on. What's the problem? So the problem is that open access practice has been already discussed lately, has been accepted as a principle and also as a business model for publishing. Whereas its operationalization and the way it has been implemented is not yet efficient in a way to benefit the whole Australian community. Regardless that national stakeholders, as well as the chief scientist, Dr. Kathy Foley, acknowledge that open access practice benefits those involved in the chain of information production, information dissemination, and information consumption. And please do put consumption into the quotes. So you probably now ask me, okay, well, why do you think that's a problem? So what's the problem? It is a problem because we all need to have access to information. We should all, especially nowadays, because nowadays, the thing is that it's much easier to find the Wi-Fi spot instead of a glass of water. And it's also quite convenient to produce information. So therefore, we should all have equal access opportunities to information sources. Even if the state sometimes is different, even if we are sitting on our chair, on campus office, or even if we are working as part of a publishing company or Elsevier and so forth, so on. So, how this research project is going to contribute in this discussion? What can be seen in accordance with this project as a potential solution? Through this project, I pursue to provide a governance mechanism to facilitate, first, the collaboration among stakeholders involved, and secondly, to improve information access opportunities within a framework of protection that takes into account relevant and modern advancements, such as the open access practice. So, given that, institutional repositories demonstrate a quite important tool to be used as the core element of the agreement among involved stakeholders or engaged stakeholders. So this research project aims at filling the literature gap by providing a systematic analysis of the Australian legal and policy frameworks concerning copyright protection, and is going to argue about the potentials that stem from the interaction with open access practice as of lessons drawn from other jurisdictions, overseas jurisdictions, also common law jurisdictions, referring specifically to Canada, the UK, and the US. But I also consider lessons drawn from the Dutch example of the Netherlands. So I think that this is the proper time, and this is the time for all this to happen. And I'm glad to say that I'd like to thank you for your attention, and that was all from me, and this is a list of references for your revision. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And so can we open that up to any questions from the audience?
Thank you very much. I'm interested to know whether you'll be taking into account experiences from different parts of the world, or whether they differ. For example, I know from reading your work that you know much about the European Union, but how are we sort of situated in Australia relative to the EU or maybe other countries? And is this part of your project?
Thanks a lot for the question. I'd like to, for example, let you know that there is specifically talk about the Netherlands that I just mentioned. They have already integrated an open access provision in the National Copyright Act. So they have already addressed that in Article, the Tavernier Agreement, that was how it was called. So that was Article 27 FA provision, based on which open access is clearly stated as part of the National Copyright Act. And therefore I think that Australia, even, I remember that I have friends from Australia that they say that Australia has the symbol is a kangaroo and emus because they just move forward. So I think that Australia should act accordingly. So according to other stats from the online databases, Australia is really great in terms of operationalization of open access through the institutional repositories. Though it's still, what is missing, I may say, in order to reach this integration into the Copyright Act, I think is Australian institutions should work more collectively. They should unite. Otherwise, I think they would try to satisfy our own, let's say, perspective and objective. Then it's going to be really challenging to find a mutual agreement. But I think I do love challenges. I think